All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all the praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakhakwadash. I also want to give double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to all you fellow laborers that are kicking this word in sincerity and in faith. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakhakwadash, Barakathum, to all of you sincere listeners. All right, so I want to play this video, it's document what's going on in the so-called Middle East, and I'm going to hit a couple of precepts, and I pray it's edifying because things are heating up.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Calmetta here, and for this next broadcast, I do have some updates I'd like to bring to you in regards to the United States, China, North Korea, as well as India and Pakistan. But I first would like to talk about Iran and Israel. It is being reported that apparently an Iranian official has stated that if Israel moves forward with the U.S.-led coalition through the Strait of Hormuz, then smoke will rise above Tel Aviv. Fears of an all-out war in the Middle East have surged after a senior advisor to the Iranian parliament warned that smoke will rise from Tel Aviv if Israel joins a U.S.-led coalition in the Strait of Hormuz. Writing in English on Twitter, the senior advisor stated that if Israel enters the Strait of Hormuz, it will be engulfed in the wrath of the region, and its smoke will rise from Tel Aviv. He also said that Iran has a vital role in security of the Hormuz Strait. Any U.S.-led military coalition in the Hormuz Strait is a repetition of Iraq-Afghanistan occupations and an escalation of insecurity in the region. Iranian Foreign Ministry statement said that action is a clear threat to its security, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, and a crisis-provoking and destabilizing element. And Reuters is reporting that the Iranian foreign minister accused the United States on Monday of turning the Gulf region into a matchbox ready to ignite. Zarif, in an interview, stated that the strait is narrow and it will become less safe as foreign Navy vessels increase their presence in it. The region has become a matchbox ready to ignite because America and its allies are flooding it with weapons. Iraq, which maintains good relations with both Washington and Iran, cautioned on Monday that the deployment of Western forces was fueling regional tension. The foreign minister stated that the states of the Gulf can together secure the transit of ships. Iraq is seeking to reduce tension in our region through calm negotiations. The presence of Western forces in the region will increase tension. Meanwhile, a U.S. official has stated that Israel and the United States are headed towards an outbreak of war with Iran. The next step for Israel and the U.S. to take against Iran would be military strikes, according to a shock admission from a Washington Strategy Group leader, Joel Rubin. His remarks came after Israel's cooperation in the U.S.-led military alliance in the Gulf. In response to Israel's role, as I stated earlier, Iran has stated that they have a right to counter Israel's role in the alliance, describing the move as a clear threat.
There you go, man. So this is the time that we're in. And another Edomite just got busted about to shoot up. I think he was going to shoot up an abortion clinic and a sodomite bar. Hey, so everything is in place for martial law to be declared because of all of the upwards of the people here. All right, the RFID chip being pushed can then be pushed, and then what's going to happen? War over here. All right, so this is the book of Jeremiah 51 and 45. My people, go you out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh. That's right. So it says, my people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord, and lest your heart faint. And ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. That's right. Because it's been a rumor for a while, but it says what? A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Yeah, because eventually violence is going to break out over there in that region, according to biblical prophecy. And according to biblical prophecy, America is fighting on the behalf, really, of Israel. This is Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh. that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And that's right, the least of the flock being the Amalekites, the so-called Jews. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. That's right, because America's going to end up being destroyed because of these Israelis and their tension and their war, their funk with Iran. And it's clear as day. It's clear as day what's happening. And our Lord spoke of these things. It's the book of Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Yeah, and the lady, she had that at the bottom right too. She had Matthew 24 and 6 through 8. Hey, because hey, that's what time that we're in. And everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, they're acknowledging the Bible. When you go on a lot of these news videos, or these videos dealing with World War III, dealing with the economy, you got a lot of people that are saying, well, look, this is end time prophecy, or the Lord is on his way, so on and so forth. Because it's clear that the Lord is getting ready to judge this place. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. That's right. So this is just the beginning of sorrows. All right, these wars, the rumors of wars, because that's a rumor. All right, and they've been going back and forth for a while now, and then it looks like the outbreak is soon to come. And we know, according to prophecy, the apostle Elder Tahar always goes into the mark of the beast has to be pushed. Yet we know that the mark of the beast has to be instituted sometime soon because of all the turmoil and the tension that's in this land. It's not going to take too much more for Esau to lock everything down, to declare martial law, and because that's what he's angling for. It says, you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah, and people are troubled by this, because you have a lot of people who are saying, well, what can we do to stop this? It seems like war is inevitable, but we're not supposed to be troubled, because these things have to come to pass in order for the Lord to return. All right, and destroy this place and deliver his elect. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And that's what's happening. You got nation rising up against nation. You got them Elamites, they're fighting amongst each other. Pakistan and India. You got the situation in Hong Kong. I mean, really, you pick a spot on the globe. There's all types of upheaval, so-called social upheaval. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences. There's all types of diseases. Well, so what do they call it? Legionnaires? I believe that's what they call it. There was an outbreak of that in Atlanta yesterday or the day before. Famines. Oh, them Elamites. And then also Manasseh, Asher. They're on the brink of famine. There's a lack of water in a lot of places. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Yeah, you have earthquake. Well, they're saying that there's supposed to be a big earthquake in New York, and I've never heard of an earthquake in New York. Okay, you got earthquakes all in the Pacific. And they're causing monsoons, things like that. Yeah, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Yeah, this is just the beginning, because the Lord, he's going to continue to turn this up. He's going to continue to turn the notch up. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Yeah, and that's what we do. We measure the time diligently in itself. Yeah, like one brother, he He has his YouTube name is that, and he just uploads a lot of videos because he's doing what? He's measuring the time diligently. All right, and then he's putting the videos up because that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be measuring the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's what's happening. The Lord is visiting this place, like it says in Isaiah the 29th chapter, with thunder and earthquakes and tempests. All right, he has the uproars of the people, like it says right here. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. That's right. So the end is manifest, meaning the end is made perfectly clear, crystal clear. You have to be totally devoid of any type of light if you can't see that we're at the end. Okay, we're at the end of what? The end of Esau's reign, the end of Esau's world, which he's not going to go out peacefully, like it says in Revelation, the 12th chapter. That's why all these, which we believe, a lot of us believe they're false flags. A lot of these false flag attacks are occurring because Esau, he's pretty much setting the stage, to come in with great wrath. But he's not going to win. Okay, he's going to take out the majority of our people. He's going to cause a lot of people to take the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, but he's not going to get everybody. All right, and his society is going to go out with a bang eventually by these nuclear missiles. Excuse me. All right, so I just want to touch on that briefly. I pray the lesson was edifying. The Wadi Yahweh Shemel Shai for allowing me to do this lesson, to speak His word, and shalom to the elect.
Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there in four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Braka Tub. So, taking a good look at things going on here and what's going on. And as you know, that at least the flock Amalek is drawing them out into this war that's inevitably going to lose, with America being destroyed. That's also leading to our salvation. So Donald Trump, by backing Amalek, is exactly where we want things to be. So, again, Donald Trump is a reflect on what all Edomites think anyways. So bring it on. We're tired of being here. We're tired of this captivity. We're just sick of everything anyways, It's quite obvious, though, that, I believe that the Most High has who He's going to, that the elect has already pretty much been reached, so now the only thing left is the prophecies. So the only thing to do in the meantime is to edify each other via these letters, these videos. So take a look at the economy update, and another brother from Great Millstone in Buffalo put that up. He's another confusion-faced brother like myself. I don't know of any other term, I know that on a technicality, confusion-faced means shameful face, which, all of us bear that, as I went into yesterday, but also, well, just pretty much those of us that don't look like, I just don't know of any other term. When I find one, I'll find one, but we're, those of us bearing prophecy, we're all Israelites, okay? And then he's only dealing with an elect anyways, and this thing was never about looks. It was about the spirit of prophecy, if they have the spirit of prophecy to be able to prophesy. And that's what we do. We prophesy against Mount Seir. The devil doesn't like that he's been exposed and is looking to shut us down. That's why, constantly, Apostle Tahar has to go on a secondary channel because they keep messing with his main channel. And they're doing it to lots of others. Too many to name. And they've done it to me before. I had another channel for years, in Revelation times. But then once I found out I was an Israelite and I stopped coming in the form of Christianity, that's when that shit got shut down. I had in Revelation ties for years. I could talk about Obama being the Antichrist. I could talk about this and that. But as I was getting closer and closer to the truth, and then I finally said it, that I said, by the way, those calling themselves Jews are not the real Jews. The real Jews are still in slavery till this day. And they will remain in slavery until the Most High come get them. You call them black people, you know. And that's when, and it was a spirit that hit me to say that. And then I would do more and more research, and that's how I found Great Millstone. The moment that happened, eventually they started having a problem with what I was teaching, because I was learning, I was watching their videos, re-uploading their videos, you know. And yeah, that channel got shut down, you know, because they don't want this word going out. They don't want people like me, who've been raised in Christianity all their lives and come into Christian doctrine, to all of a sudden find out what the true doctrine is, which I've been saying it for a long time. Even Rick Wiles of True News, who's a Christian, had said it for a long time, that things are not panning out the way that they told us. We need to really reread the Bible and find out what it really has to say. He said that. And that's exactly what I was doing. And then, that's when it hit me. That those are not the real Jews. That the real ones are still in slavery till this day. We're brought over in slavery. And then I just kind of laughed. I said, oh, you thought that that they came from Africa. Well, how do you think they ended up in Africa to begin with? They didn't just start there. They just ended up there because of the fact that, you would come to find out as you read more into the Apocrypha, these books that the Roman Catholic Church didn't want published anyways. You would find out that they did flee into the mountains exactly the way that, even the book of Matthew tells you this. When you shall see the abomination of desolation that's spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and that's in the book of Matthew, as he's re-quoting Daniel, Yahushua told us, flee ye into the mountains. Well, where are the mountains? Well, you find out that that's in the High Sahara. And it's right there in mountains of Egypt and in Africa. And that's where we ended up. And we were, hiding from the Romans at that time. When they came in, they destroyed the temple. And in fact, First Maccabees chapter 1 goes into that a lot. These are the books that they took out of the Bible. So, coming to our true identity, finding out who we are and how we've been displaced here. And there's many of us that are displaced who didn't know that we were Gentiles, which that goes for the entire nation. We didn't know that we were Israelites, but had a Gentile state of mind. Well, either way, Esau wants to try to break this up and doesn't like the fact that there's been this gathering. And a lot of people are leaving 501c3 churches because they're finding out that there's no truth in it, that there's no hope whatsoever for these Edomites. So Esau's not coming out, it's not going to go out without fighting. Again, he's a wounded animal. What's a wounded animal do? It's going to fuck up everything in sight, and that's why it's a free-for-all here in Reading. Everybody steals from everybody here, but we're not to be caught up in that, So, if you're a Jake among it, walking among these thieves, because this is the house of the thief, but nonetheless, though, there'll come a time and place where we can take spoils, but for right now, we're not to take any spoils, And so we're just going to take a look at the financial collapse, as X22 report puts it. And now on to the screencast. Hope these videos are edifying.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And a sincere Shalom to the elect out there teaching His truth. Alright, and adoring with sincerity. Okay? Real quick economy update for you brothers. I'm just going to go with the spirit on this one. Fed raised rates Slovakia, the Fed cut rates quarter basis point the other day, and a lot of investors, well, what the computers were looking for, is really just computers. What the market was looking for, I'll say the market, okay. But hey, that just goes to show you, man, the times that we're living in, okay, with the mark of the beast soon about to be mandatory, man, because a lot of these big financial institutions, they have AI doing their trading for them. Artificial intelligence is running the stock market. Okay? But anyways, the Fed cut rates quarter basis point. The market wanted a clear vision of future rate cuts. Okay? And the Fed didn't give it to them. They said that this could be the only rate cut. It was just an adjustment. Pretty much. But the market wanted them to lower rates again, man. Which goes to show you that this whole system has been on life support for years now. Okay? For years now. Even before 2008, government spending was getting out of control. Okay, this economy is on life support because once the stimulus stops, it starts to crash. Every time that they cut the stimulus, the economy slows down dramatically, or the markets plunge. Okay? That is why this economy, this financial system is on life support, man. Because without consistently propping it up, it's going to completely fall apart. Now you had the Dow was down, I believe, 300 something points the other day after the announcement. Okay? Because the market was not happy. They wanted a clear vision that there was going to be more rate cuts going forward. Okay? And today, let me look at the 1-day chart. Alright. The markets were up today. Okay, somewhat. Alright, the markets were up today somewhat. And then they plunged again once news of more tariffs hitting China. Okay? Here you have Kramer. Well, hey, this is this right here, the Dow swings 600 plus points. These large market swings, man. You know, that's what we have to look for, these large market swings. Because these large market swings create what's known as volatility, which is the fear index. Okay? So the markets have huge swings, which make it more prone for a crash. Okay? But Kramer says, and he's a shill, new tariffs and forecast cuts are coming. Here's how to play it. Okay? So with all these economists talking about we're going to go into a recession next year, they're pretty much already saying that the economy's already slowed down. Okay? And to brace for the impact. So, DJ Trump it says Trump's latest broadside on China raises fear that the trade war is new status quo. Dow drops 280 points, giving up big earlier gain after Trump says U.S. adding more tariffs on China. Okay? So, what Trump is doing is sending mixed signals to the market. Okay? He's sending mixed signals to the market. Alright? Earnings haven't been that great this year.
for a lot of these corporations. But it really doesn't matter, because all the money that's being pumped into the markets, man, is fake anyway, man. You know, it's fake anyway, man. Trump tariff threat pushes up chance for Fed rate cuts as recession risks rise. Okay? There's always a catch-22, man. You know? And then you see what's going on with Deutsche Bank. It's a very serious situation right there. Okay? The question is, are they going to let it fail? If they let it fail, the whole system's going to go down. You know? And I've given my opinion on that. I think they're going to bail them out, because the amount of money that it's going to take to bail them out is going to guarantee that the bankers have control over these European governments, man. But like the scriptures say. Go to the blue letter real quick. Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay, the borrower is servant to the lender. So if they bail this big bank out, this super big bank, Deutsche Bank, okay, and they spend trillions upon trillions of dollars bailing this bank out, what does that mean? Okay? What does that mean? That means that the borrower is servant to the lender, because they're going to use the people's money, the common people. They're going to put them on the hook for the bill. Okay? The populace, the poor, are going to be on the hook for the bill, man. The rich ain't gonna fucking pay for that shit. No, they're gonna make the common man pay for it, man. And then they're gonna use that debt to push the agenda that they want. All right. But anyways, getting back into these markets, man. Okay, the VIX is up 10%. All right. Asia's in bad shape. You can see with these numbers. Okay, Asia's in bad shape. Europe isn't really doing any. They're about to open a little bit. Oil's going up. Okay, but it was down big yesterday, I believe, or the day before. I can't remember what. But metals, precious metals, gold. Okay, we got to keep our eyes on gold, because if the value of gold increases, and gold has been artificially beaten down over the past few years. Okay, it's been manipulated a lot. The price of gold, it really should be a lot higher. But as the price of gold goes up, one thing to note is that the value, in general, the value of paper money goes down. Okay? So that's what we want to look for, man, is the price of gold. Because this fiat currency, once it loses enough value, the people are going to look for other answers. People are going to look for other answers. Problem, reaction, solution. Okay? Because not everybody's going to go back to carrying around gold. Alright? These governments, they're not going to go back to gold-backed currencies. Well, some of them might. China and Russia look like they're moving in that direction. But the United States is going to stay a fiat currency, man. For the time being, at least. Okay? But one of the things that we notice, once the people beg for a solution, once this paper money is damn near valueless or worthless, the solution is going to be the mark of the beast, because they want to move everything towards digital. Okay? They want to move everything towards digital. Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great. Alright? Because everybody uses money. Rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Alright? Now, buying and selling is going to be the main engine for this mark of the beast system. It's going to be the main engine behind it, because not only is your personal data, information, so on and so forth, records, going to be on these chips, alright, and it's all going to be connected to this big AI system run off what, 5G, maybe 6G, we don't know, but everything is going to be, but the main engine behind it is going to be buying and selling, commerce, okay, because with digital, when everything goes digital, they can track everything. Okay? They could track everything. And if they want, they could turn your chip off and you can't buy or sell. You can't participate in their New World Order. Alright? But I want to get one last scripture, actually. I'm not trying to make this too long. But you know, we got to be watching these markets right now, man, because it's looking like it's on life support right now, man. I mean, I know the numbers are high, and they're gonna stay high until the crash. You know, because they're artificially inflated with stock buybacks. You know, all that easy money over the years. Eventually, that shit is gonna have to deflate out. But what the message is that's being sent is that this economy, okay, relies on stimulus. Without the stimulus, it's going to go crashing down. It's not really based off of anything, man. And the main victim of that is going to be America. Okay, because China and Russia, they've been building up their gold reserves. You know, they have other kinds of assets that they could use. But the U.S., yes, the U.S. does own a large amount of assets, but their gold holdings has been fucking greatly diminishing, man. Okay? And the dollar is about to get really weak, man. You know? So we have to brace ourselves, man, for that this economic collapse could happen this year. We don't know. Okay? You don't know. Zephaniah 1:10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. A great crashing, okay? And the hills represent what? The nations, man. Okay? A great crashing. Of what? Howl ye inhabitants of Maktesh. Okay? Wall Street. Modern day Maktesh would be what? These markets being put into play, man. Alright? There's going to be a great crashing, man. For all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. Okay, all the merchant people are going to be cut down, man. Only the ones that the elites, only the ones in the know, pretty much, are going to have their assets out of the market before it crashes. Because that's what these elites want. They want everything for themselves. But a lot of these people, man, they may have 50% of their portfolio put into put into U.S. dollar assets. Okay? They might have 65% of their portfolio in stocks. Maybe 25% in bonds or whatever. And maybe 10% in metals or whatever. Or, we don't know. Everybody's got their own ratio. But most of these people, these merchant people, these modern day merchant people, have their money in what? The stock market. Okay? In the stock markets. So, when these markets crash, these people aren't going to have anything. Only the elites are going to have anything, man. I mean, you guys, you Israelites, talking about guys that want this worldly gain. You Israelites that money is a large part of your motive. You're going to be fucking penniless too, man. How many of you are buying things that are tangible, man? Like gold and silver. How many of you actually own gold and silver coins, man? Because if you own paper gold, you ain't going to get nothing out of that. They're not going to honor it. There could be gold seizures, man. There was gold seizures during the Depression. Okay? So what are you going to do, man? Alright? What are you going to do, man? That's why a lot of brothers, man, they could financially do better, but, I mean, it's kind of a blessing in a way to be living paycheck to paycheck, because you really ain't got shit to lose, man. You know? You really ain't got shit to lose. Now, I'm not making excuses for brothers to be lazy. But the Most High has you set up to where you live in paycheck to paycheck with a little bit extra. Then that is what it is, man. You don't want to inherit the cares of this world. Okay, but with that, I'm getting a little off topic. Till next time, shalom.
Slovakia for that. For some reason, the camera wasn't working right. I had to play around with the settings to get it right. So I'll get it right on the next one to where you'll actually see me. So all I can do is record in the still. But anyways, here's another case of fucking pigs harassing Jake and trying to get him to admit to cocaine when in fact it's just fucking bird shit. And RT caught it on camera.
What is that? Yeah. We go test and see. Yeah. Looks like it. Looks like it. It turned pink. Good. It's good. Turn pink, man. It's cocaine, man. What's the white stuff on the front of your hood, man? Bird shit. Bird shit? Yeah. That ain't bird shit.
Dispatch single.
I promise you that's bird duty. I promise you it's not, though. I swear to God that's bird duty. Well, I swear to God it's not, because I just tested it and that turned pink.
You can see it on the windshield.
That's not bird poop.
I swear to God that's bird duty.
That's not bird poop. What is that?
So you see, they're trying to get him to admit to stuff, trying to plant false evidence, because that's what a fucking pig does. It reminds me of that old David Peel song. He's called a cop. Hey, cop. Hey, cop. He's a man in blue. He's a pig. He's a killer in disguise. He doesn't have a brain. That's too big. He doesn't want to know why. It's called a cop. Anyhow, yeah, man. And this is why people don't respect their authority. Man, only Esau gave them that authority. Without a badge and a gun, you're just another sucker waiting to get shot. Because you can best believe the gangs have them. As that old NWA song also says. This next one's a video just reading articles, which is what I do as well. So take a look at this, because here's Pompous.
Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, call Allah, Yom Yahweh Hashem Yahshai Hashem Rachav Kodash. The bonus to the apostles of Great Millstone who were willing to tell us the truth. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, out there that's appointed by Yahshua Dawudah, the house of David. Alright, this is just a quick news update through the Spirit. Pompeo to UN. Time is running out to kick Iran while it's down. And I'm going to read a little bit of it. I'm going to put the link in the description. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has warned allies that time is running out to squash Iran while it's weakened by an arms embargo, urging them to halt Tehran's destabilizing behavior before it regains the ability to fight back. Tweeting a countdown clock purporting to show the time remaining before the UN arms embargo on Iran expires and Qasem Soleimani's travel bans ends, Pompeo urged allies and partners to step up their pressure on the boogeyman du jour before the embargo expires and the playing field levels somewhat. So this is the clock. I'm guessing. Should I click on it? Let me see. Let me see what happens when I click on it. Oh shit. That's a gift, but that's basically the clock that they said at the time that's running out. And let me see, how much is it? I'm gonna put the link in the description so you brothers can read it yourself and put your 2 cents in it, whatever. Read a little bit more. It says the post received approving nods from Iranian American accounts retweeting hashtags like Pahlavi made Iran great and Iran regime change. And interestingly enough, a lot of Hong Kong protesters, but others pointed out that had the U.S. not withdrawn from the JCPOA nuclear agreement, there would be no problem. Still, others noted that the U.S. was clearly worried about Iran being able to arm itself and push back against American aggression, and that the threat was entirely imaginary. I'm reading this tweet real quick. Countries like Russia and China, this is somebody. Countries like Russia and China will be able to sell the Iranian government tanks, missiles, and air defense equipment. So in other words, Iranians will be able to militarily defend themselves against any foreign aggression. Got it? It sounds good to me. And that's the Lord, man. The Lord is totally with the program program of this man going down. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description, but I'm gonna get a couple scriptures real quick. And this is towards you devils, man. Alright? Because what y'all don't realize is the Most High is orchestrating everything. You know? Exodus chapter 15, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Alright? That's the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. And he is a man of war. And we know this because look at all the war that's going on around the earth right now. The rulers of war. Alright? We're going to get that too. It's Isaiah 13. And, let me see. In 5, it says, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord in the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. And the whole land is talking about America, the wicked land, all right? It said to destroy the whole land. And these are the weapons of the Lord's indignation, his righteous anger, all right? ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles that can shoot from one continent to another. It says, how ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Right. You know? Oh, let me go to verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. And that's what we keep saying to you people out here. The day of Yahweh Shai is at hand. And what's going to happen it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. And that's what we are telling you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans every week in and week out. That the day of the Lord is at hand. You know? And this is, let me see if I can find it. This is good news, man. You know, this is Jeremiah 49:20. It says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And that's what's happening right now. You know, with all these wars and rumors of war, the least of the flock shall draw them out. The Lord is a man of war. This is all on the agenda of Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. You know? It's all it is, the agenda of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And this thing is going to happen. World War III is inevitable. Alright? Because guess what? The Lord's coming like a thief in the night. Let me see. This is Luke 21:25. Says, and there shall be sign in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and that's the days that we're living in. And upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Right. Distress of men, right? And nations, man. You're going to hear about war, you're going to hear about rumors of war, and these things must happen. But that's pretty much, you know, the point, you know, in the article. Like I said, hey man, we here, you know, the brothers been prophesying, you know, Cherry's been going over the apostles, the other brothers. We here, man. this is just more confirmation news of war. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link in the description so you guys can read it again. Time to kick Iran while it's down. But with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Now, as America has always done, feeding you the propaganda and all that, of course, just like they do with Iran, nuclear threat. You know, Iran's a nuclear threat. We don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon, which is really Amalek who utters these words, this rhetoric, which is the same gutter rats that are saying the same about Russia. You know, and it's just pretty much, man, the arms race is on. And the fact is that Russia has better shit than America. And so, you know, they're going to keep on pushing the propaganda to get everybody to want to fight the Russian bear. Because this is really the least of the flock Amalek drawing them into this war. So, anyhow, this I thought was very interesting from RT.
As they say, empty vessels make the most noise, and an accident in Russia threatens to destroy the world. Last Thursday, there was an explosion at the military facility in the northwestern city of Severodvinsk. A nuclear rocket engine test went wrong. 5 engineers died. We learned that from Defense Ministry, Atomic Agency, and 3 other official sources later that very day. It was confirmed there was a brief spike in the radiation level, but it returned to normal a couple of hours after the explosion. But some just didn't want to agree.
U.S. officials fear what Vladimir Putin has yet to acknowledge, that a deadly explosion late last week in Russia was caused by a nuclear-powered missile.
Do we yet know what actually happened? Or is the Russian government still lying about this? Is there a possibility that people actually are in danger here beyond the people who are already injured or killed in whatever this accident was?
If this was nuclear, it would not be the first time Moscow muddled its messaging after a potential nuclear mishap. In 1986, the Soviet Union didn't acknowledge the Chernobyl disaster until Western nations detected heightened radiation levels in Europe.
People are remembering what happened in 1986 at the Chernobyl plant. Of course, it's of a very different scale, but at that time there was also an information blackout. Seriously? Chernobyl? The one with radiation leaks felt in faraway Sweden? The one with a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone and ghost towns around it, till today, almost 35 years later? And did you hear that? The Al Jazeera reporter herself says Chernobyl, but on another scale. Yes, it is another scale, far from comparable. Someone watched too much HBO recently, huh?
There was nothing sane about Chernobyl. Really. All of it. Magnus.
And who are the judges? In the last clip, Al Jazeera used the picture of another explosion with a caption saying it's Severodvinsk. That blast in Russia's Siberia several days ago looked very dramatic, an ideal float for a doomsday report, but it was a different explosion. It happened in Russia after all, so why not? Is that the logic? And there were so many other media outlets making the same mistake, or maybe using the scary picture on purpose. And finally, the death toll. Some insisted there were 7 people killed in the incident, even though 5 deaths were officially confirmed, and there were 5 coffins at the funerals. On Monday, Russia's authorities issued a final report on what happened, and to stop speculation.
After the explosion, radiation levels in Severodvinsk region increased between 4 and 16 times. At 12:30, radiation levels spiked at 6 locations. At 14:30, the radiation level in Severodvinsk city returned to normal.
That's it. Over. The story is history now, officially. But we can still expect some reports giving us an alternative picture of events.
Yeah, and that's just it, though. You know how this devil uses the media to lie. They lie about everything, you know, and they're going to say that, quote-unquote, black extremists have something to do with everything and that we got to shut them down. That's how they plan to come after us. They already, Chris Green's already giving you a premonition that they're going to kill WikiLeaks leader Julian Assange. So, you know that they don't want this information out there because, of course,
A lot of people don't want to join their fucking wars, nor do they want to support anything. And they definitely don't want to march into FEMA camps, so they can't have that opposition. So, while the U.S. is doing its bullying, here's more. U.S. threat sanctions are aimed at pushing Iran into talks. Syria. We'll be dealing with Syria in a minute. This analyst says. So let's go ahead and play this here.
They intended to, pose military threat to Tehran, to change the calculations of the Islamic Republic, to push them to talks. A military threat and sanctions work hand in hand in order to change the calculations in Tehran. That's what they hope. Iran is standing firm. At the same time, it's trying to keep the waterway calm and to restore tranquility and peace in here, especially after the UAE started rapprochement, regretting its past mistakes. Apparently, they are at the beginning. There's a long way ahead before they could prove that they are really sorry. There are words being heard every now and then that even the Saudis are thinking of a rapprochement after they got discouraged from the United States, views and cries about being tough against Iran.
So there you go, man. Pretty much though, it's not going to work. So the U.S. is now, just doing what it can. There was an accident in Russia, so they're just using that as propaganda. So you're just going to keep on seeing propaganda against Iran and against Russia, just like they've always done. They've been doing it for years, but it's just going to be more and more buildup of this. And this terrorism against both Yemen and Syria is really about entrapping Iran. Iran supports unified Yemen, warns of plots to partition war-ravaged country. Yeah, so just like they've done in Syria, because they have done it, they plan to do the same in Yemen. They plan to, divide the country up, and to take parts of it. Iran says it supports a unified Iran, warning against plots aiming at dividing the war-ravaged Arab country. The coalition of Saudi and Emirati invaders, along with their mercenaries, who have, over the past 5 years, failed to break the will of the people by using advanced weaponry, massacre, and massive destruction, and now see their defeat in the face of the spirit of resistance and resilience of people across Yemen, are seeking to partition Yemen through a suspicious plot. Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Masavi said Wednesday. So pretty much, though, that's what they plan to do here. Now, of course, here's more. Leader urges resistance against Saudi UAE bid to split Yemen. So they want to partition Yemen just like they've already partitioned Syria. And this has come from Ayatollah Khamenei. Leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, warns that the Saudi regime and the United Arab Emirates, which have been leading a military campaign against Yemen, are after partitioning the fellow Arab country, calling for strong resistance in the face of the plot. Pretty much, it's just kind of backing up. So this article is almost up twice. And, of course, let's see. Here's more, and this is dealing with Syria. Syrian Arab Army takes militant enclaves in significant Idlib advance. And looks like this is a video here, so we're going to get this to play. Since we know that we're limited on what we can show. Anything that shows you the truth about the war over there, they seem to want to censor that. But if it's on Syrian Arab News Agency, not too much these fuck-faced dickhead assholes can say. So either way, their terrorist proxies are losing. The Syrian Arab army is still advancing and liberating Idlib from the terrorists, supported by United States and Turkey. And this from Syrian Arab News Agency. China calls for respect of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. And as you know, last week, China also stood in support of Maduro's government in Venezuela. Beijing reiterated on Wednesday its stance, which calls for respected Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Yeah, because you know that the United States is trying to cause an insurrection in China now, just like they've been doing in Syria and Yemen. China respects stance of the Syrian government, and don't forget Venezuela, in the regard and believes in the necessity of respecting and protecting Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Haiyu Chaying, spokeswoman of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, said in response to a question about establishing a so-called buffer zone in Syria. She called on the sides concerned at the international community to work in a unified way and avail the conditions in order to reach a political solution to the crisis in Syria, which is to get the U.S. and Turkey out of there. Syria has categorically rejected an agreement which were announced by the U.S. and Turkish occupation about establishing so-called buffer zone in Syria. So again, you know, because we know what the buffer zone is about protecting their terrorist proxies. You know, and Bashar al-Assad said it correctly. You know, these are all terrorist proxies. And here's another one interesting, just like we said before, you know, the least of their flock. Well, actually, it's the word of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai that says it. We're just reiterating it about the least of their flock. Amalek drawn them out into this. And so here's another article. Hundreds of Edomite North American immigrants arrive in Israeli state-occupied lands. So here's more of them fucking gutter rats and pieces of shit. You know, these fucking goddamn Edomites. Nearly 250 new gutter rats from the United States and Canada have arrived in the Israeli-occupied territories and been received by Israeli state amid the sounds of shofar blasts and cheering of hundreds of terrorists, as opposed to the Tel Aviv regime's controversial plan to expel thousands of African refugees, which were not Africans. On Wednesday, a total of 242 terrorists landed at the Ben Gurion, because that's who these gutter rats are. I'm just calling it out for what it is. You know, these fucking gutter rats. On a special flight charactered by Nefesh B'Nefesh, an organization which promotes and facilitates, i.e., Jewish immigration to Israel, which Jewish is to be like a Jew, but they're not like it unto us. Nah, man. If you put Yahweh against one of those so-called Jews, what do you think Yahweh is going to do? Yeah, put Mike Tyson against Benjamin, not a Jew. See what the fuck's going to happen, okay? So you can't even say that they are like a Jew. You know, there's no comparison. Now, that being said, now we know that Steven Seagal is an Amalekite also. Alright, if you put him up against, okay, that's going to be a pretty good fight. But let's just face it, though. The ones that are in the Israeli state, they're not like the Russian Amalekites. You know, those Russian Amalekites, you know, especially people like Steven Seagal, man. You know, now you're dealing with a head-to-head tribe. You know, more so. But a lot of these other ones that are over here in the U.S. and the Israeli state are just fat fucks with fucking bald hair and just whiny fucking voices. You know, like their fucking bullshit show, The Nanny. You know, that, you know, fucking, you can't stand them fuckers. Anyhow, I'm facilitating cooperation with Israeli State, Ali and Integration Ministry, the Jewish Agency for Israel, Karen Kai Israel, KKK, and Jewish National Fund USA. You know, just pretty much, man. You know, they're stealing the land from the rightful people, and these gutter rats are looking to take over that. So, you know, again, the least of the flock drawing them out. So that just leads me here to 2nd Ezra chapter 9, because this is where we are, which this kind of backs up Habakkuk as well, you know. He answered me then, and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we're seeing that everywhere, just reiterating this, as a brother from Sacramento had already brought it out earlier. Well, we're seeing this. Therefore, when you shall see earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, we're seeing that happen, insurrections, and we're seeing earthquakes everywhere, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spoke of these things from the beginning that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, and we're seeing the ending manifest, the beginning of birth pains. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonderful and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. Everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby you have believed. So in other words, man, we just got to keep on doing this thing diligently, because it just said so there. Everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his faith and by his works. You got to put in the work, man, whereby you have believed. So you show that you believe by going out there proclaiming this and doing the best you can to rehearse the righteous acts. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. They shall be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. So, these gutter rats and Esau, Edom, man, they are fucking being tormented by the fact that we're starting to remember. And we're calling them out by what they are. That's why they're putting flags on videos and, saying that it's hateful speech because you don't like something, which is what the word hate means anyways. Not get too caught up on the word. But nonetheless, though, we know all the tactics, so we're just going to keep on proclaiming this. So I hope all this has been edifying. And then, pretty much Paul Stahar did another GMS in transit, so look at that and close this thing out. So I hope everything's been edifying. Until next time, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakah Kadash, Wa Abba Babal, Barakatham Jehovah Olek.
Shalom. Hope you can hear me. I'll come back and drink this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Hashem, Kodash. And this is open forum, various topics, GMS and transit, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to say what comes to my mind. I don't really have anything in my mind. Any particular topic, but anyway, whatever comes to my mind. I want to speak on the visit that Vocab Malone and crew came out, and it started off, I didn't want to deal with them because the way they rolled up didn't give us no warning that they were rolling up, and but then it kind of calmed down, and we kind of got into try to get into some type of back and dialogue discussion, but it was too many things coming out. We couldn't stick on one topic because somebody would bring up something, then it would go. So really, at the end of the day, very little came out of it because there was a lot of confusion. But the one topic that came up that I brought up was reincarnation. I had made 2 videos on it, and I noticed not too many people saw the videos because we already did reincarnation videos in the past, so brothers out there and some of the sisters already know about it. But those 2 videos that I put up, I focused on John the Baptist, and the second video that I did, which is the most recent one, it was an article dealing with is John the Baptist. Did Elijah come back as John the Baptist? Something to the effect of the name. and you know, the person that wrote the article, you know, gave the right scriptures, and you can read the scriptures in plain black and white that the Lord said that John is Elijah. Then the guy asked the question, did Elijah come back as John? He said absolutely not. Then he goes into what he thinks that means. But the Lord didn't stutter, all right? He said it's plain, you know, it was translated in black and white, you know. You can't change it. You can't switch the words around. There's a thing in the scriptures called reincarnation. Anyway, with that being said, you know, you can watch the videos, but I focus on that whole John the Baptist Elijah thing, which clearly proves that reincarnation is biblical. It's mentioned in the Bible, spoken of in the Bible. The UFOs at the end of the so-called meeting, when they left, it was funny. When they left, it was dark. It was nighttime already, because we've been out there for like three hours and change, and they came out there for 2. They was out there, believe it or not, for 2 hours. So like an hour in, that's when they rolled up. But as soon as they left and they turned the corner, G-Man came from another direction, you know, say, "Hey, Tola." And I didn't know who that was, and Apostle Ramlab said, "Oh boy," you know. Then he came up, and then he kind of wanted to have like a little interview with me. He put his smartphone in my face, and in the background you heard brother screaming, saying "Pum Yasha Allah," and I'm like, "Well, look at what's going on." And they said, it's the ships, it's the chariots, you know. So I look up in the heavens, and what you see, the video couldn't get it. The video couldn't really get it too clear, but the naked eye saw it perfectly. In the video, you see like a light. So brothers say, "Oh, that's a UFO." No, that light, there was like one light in the sky, like a bright white light. That wasn't the UFO. What we saw was it and somebody put in the comment section of G-Man's page that those are lanterns, you know, them Chinese lanterns. But if you actually saw it, first of all, it was maybe like 20 of them. Chinese lanterns don't just turn on and light up. You know, you let a Chinese lantern go up in the air and it stays lit because it's like a candle inside the whatchamacallit, right? So when we looked and saw the chariots, they were all the same color, and they were all moving in a horizontal direction. They were moving from left to right. You know, they wasn't moving up. They were moving from left to right, and they were going down. They all was at the same speed. And those 20 or 25 turned to about 50. And then those 50 turned to about 80. And those 80 turned to about 100. So the lights kept coming on. And then they kind of disappeared to the sky. They went from the left to the right, and they kept going. So I said, that's clearly ships. It couldn't be weather balloons. It couldn't be planes. It couldn't be helicopters. And if they were helicopters, they were close enough we would have heard the sound of the chopper. There wasn't these lanterns. They were definitely ships. And the last time I saw so-called UFOs, one that was clearly a UFO, and it changed shapes, and it was so low, it was about as tall as maybe a third-story building, fourth-story building. It was super low, and this is had to be back in 1985, 1986. When the UFO came down, or the ship came down, it was in the shape of a cube, like a cube with lights around it, and it just transformed into a saucer type UFO, and there was colors color lights around it. Then it began to spin, and then it moved so fast it went into a hyperdrive, and it just disappeared into the sky. It was like a streak of lightning. At first it was moving slow, then it just shot into the heavens, man. And I remember that. You know, when you go to the scriptures, you know, there's plenty of scriptures on the chariots. Zechariah 5 come to mind? And they shall enter into the house of the thief. This is the house of the thief because this man stole this place. And see, the records are out there. You can't say, well, we just happen to be here. No, the records are you came and you attacked the so-called Native Americans, Seminole Indians, Cherokee, whatever tribe you want to talk about. One way or another, you took them down, and then later in history, you put them in reservations, which is concentration camps, basically. So you have to pay for what you did, man. This is the house of the thief. Scriptures say it shall enter into the house of the thief, and them that sweareth falsely on that side according to it. So, you know, you Edomites are trying to figure things out, and you're not going to figure this out. The elite knows exactly who we are. When you read Psalms, the 10th chapter, Psalms, the 64th chapter, you know, you can clearly see in those scriptures that it's talking about the elect, you know. And that's clear. Anyway, going back to the meeting with Vocab coming down to the camp, there's the one dude, the Jake. He kept asking me about, you know, what if you find out that you're wrong about the whole Hebrew Israelite thing? Well, if I'm wrong, the only thing I'll be wrong on is the fact that I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I believe I'm an Israelite. And he said, well, what if you find out that Christianity is correct? Well, what is Christianity? Christianity is based upon the Bible. And being a Hebrew Israelite is based upon the Bible. So, what, you know, we're reading from the same book, and we teach the same things that Christians do. We teach that the Messiah came, whether you want to call him Christ or Yeshua or Yahushai, all right? Which we believe by faith that's his name. We believe he came down. We believe he gathered. When you read the scriptures correctly, and most Christians don't even know this, well, if you ask them how many disciples did the Lord have, they'll always tell you 12. Actually, he had 84 disciples. He had the 12, he had the 70, and he had two others, which was Joseph and Matthias, which the 70 had got offended. So there was only the 12. There was only the 12 and the other two, which you read about in Acts, the first chapter. You read the first chapter. Now you had to cast lots to see who would be the one that would take the place of Judas Iscariot. So the Christians believe that, and we believe that, and we teach it. When the Lord spoke to the multitude, when he was in the ship, everything that's in the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we teach the same thing that you teach. But the difference is this: when you read about the Gentiles, those Gentiles were Israelites. The Lord only came for the children of Israel. When you read Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 5th and the 6th verse, it tells you about go not into the way of the Gentiles, neither into the city of any city of the Samaritans that ye not, but go rather to the Lord's sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So you guys say, yeah, okay, but what about this? If you go to Matthew 28:19, well, why would the Lord say one thing and then turn around and change his mind? Didn't he come to do the will of his Father? So what we teach is the same thing that you teach, but the only difference is you say that the other nations can make it. The other is open to the whole. You use John 3:16, and then a lot of you Christians that use John 3:16, if you look up the word world, the word world is, if you go into the Greek, the word there is cosmos, which means a certain segment of something. Like you have the rock and roll world, you have the world of hip hop, you have the world of car racing, which I'm not into that. You know, that the Indy 500, I'm not into that, but a lot of Edomites are into that, and there's a few Jakes that are into that too. So that's what the word world means, so you can understand. So see, we got it right because we check out everything, so we know we have the truth. And we know that we're Israelites based upon the Spirit. The fact that we out there saying that we're Israelites, who's out there, what so-called Jews ever in Europe, in America, what so-called Jews ever went out on corners with a 12 tribe sign talking about the 12 tribes of Israel? None of them. And that's a fulfillment of Ezekiel 37, which is one of my favorite chapters, man. In Ezekiel 37, that's the only time it mentions about that sign, about the 12 tribes, Judah and his companion, and Ephraim, the stick of Joseph and his companion. We're the only ones that do that. So you know that we have to be the people because we're doing exactly what the scriptures say. Anyway, you know, I'm gonna close it. You know, I'm driving, so it's obvious I couldn't open up the scriptures, but I quoted a couple of scriptures, and we know the scriptures, man. And when you really sit down and search these scriptures and watch our videos, like the couple of them, there was two Jakes out there. Jakes meaning Israelites. The tall one with the dredge, and the other one, I forget their names. I seen both of them on video, so I know their faces. I just forget their names. But if they really sat down and really researched this thing, their conclusion would be that yes, we would have to be the Israelites. It definitely sounds like we will have to be the Israelites. Because let's go back to the so-called Jews in the land of Israel. They're saying that's the fulfillment. And these Christian groups, they teach that that's the fulfillment of was it Isaiah 2 verse 2, where it speaks about them going back to the land. And it's all through the scriptures. It's also in Ezekiel 37, Hosea 1. It's in a lot of script. Isaiah 11, where it speaks about the disperse of Israel, and it speaks about them going back to the land of Israel. And Isaiah 2 verse 2, it said, "Nation shall not learn war anymore." So you know that those people being over there in the land of Israel is not the fulfillment of Israel coming back. Because where's the tribe of Issachar? Where's the tribe of Benjamin? Where's the tribe of Levi? Although some of them call themselves Levi, they mostly say that they're Jews or Judah. Where's the tribe of Gad? Where's the tribe of Reuben? Where's the tribe of Asher? Where's the tribe of Simeon? Where's the tribe of Ephraim? Where's those tribes at? None of them identify themselves as being Ephraim or being Gad. So we know that that's not the fulfillment of the prophecy of Israel coming back to the land of Israel. And we believe that they set up certain guys to debunk what we're teaching. But you can't stop the prophecies of the Most High. Remember, the Most High made you. When you read Romans, the 9th chapter, it speaks about the lump of clay. One lump is for honor and the other lump for dishonor. And he equates that to Jacob and Esau. He even mentioned Jacob. The Apostle Paul even mentioned Jacob and Esau. And the Apostle Paul basically said that this is not for Esau. This is for the children of Israel, man. He said, for my brethren, for my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, of whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the giving of the Lord, the service of the Most High, the promises. And this is why the Lord came in the flesh to die for. So either you're going to read the scriptures. If you know how to read English, you read something and you say, okay, this means that. And this, if it says road closed, do not take this detour. Do not make this right turn. And then you go right through it, and the cops stop you, and you tell them, no, it didn't say that. Well, it's obvious you don't know the English language, man. All right. When you read these, we directed you to these scriptures and showed you what they meant. Oh, they think that Mary was a virgin. Mary was not a virgin, man. And when you read the scriptures, you get the understanding that what is that? Romans 1 verse 3. It speaks about how he came through the seed of David. Revelation 22, I believe it is, the root of David. Revelation. There's so many scriptures about him coming from the seed of David, meaning the line of David. Like you have a Rockefeller, right? You have a Rockefeller that maybe got kidnapped and they had children or whatever. And then these children say, well, we are the Rockefellers, so we want a part of the estate. So now what are they going to do? They're going to do a series of a DNA test or whatever. And then they're going to see that, yes, your line goes back to the Rockefellers. So now you get the inheritance of the Rockefellers. And that's with us. We're going to get the inheritance, which is the land and the blessings, because we are those actual people. There's no such thing as spiritual Israelites. Or the spiritual Israelites are the actual physical Israelites. We believe and we teach and we know that our line goes back directly to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. If you come from Esau, you're close, but no cigar. You're not going to be blessed. Now, I hate to come up there and tell you that, man. You know, I hate to disappoint your gods, bro. Anyway,